We are going to be recording this session, so you may get a little notification that comes up that says that we're recording, and is that okay with you? Unless you are recording. Okay, great. My name is Kara Young. I'm the District Communications Coordinator, and I am joined by Melissa Larson, who's the District Communications Specialist, and Angelica Hernandez with IT System Support. And between the three of us, we probably know the most about ParentSquare in the whole district, so you're in really good hands. Today, we're going to cover how to activate your account. The nice thing about ParentSquare is you don't have to do anything to receive messages from the district. You're all automatically enrolled the moment you register your student and your information comes into our student information system. The activating your account part comes in when you want to interact with the system and when you want to set your own notification preferences. That's something that we'll also be covering. We'll also take a look at the different kinds of messages that we send out through ParentSquare, posts, smart alerts, and direct messages. And then we'll look at calendars and files and show you basically where you can find things. So first off, what is ParentSquare? So ParentSquare is the district's communication tool for the district, school, and classroom level. Now, that's not to say that schools don't use other tools. We also have Seesaw, which is more of a learning management tool for elementary, and Canvas, which is typically used by maybe 4th, 5th grades and on up. So there could be communications coming through that, but this is the way that we reach people all at once in the district, in a school, or even communicate one-on-one at the classroom level. We can send you notifications by email, text, app, and or voice notifications. So it's important to note that you as the parent and guardian determine how you want to receive the messages. We don't decide on a regular basis if you receive an email, a text, or an app, that you decide that. The only exception for that is in the event of an emergency, we would send out notifications on all the through all the tools and override your preferences if it's an emergency. ParentSquare provides one-way communication and two-way communication. And it's important to note that if you speak a different language and it's flagged as such in our student information system, the very first message you get from ParentSquare through ParentSquare is going to be in that language that you have selected in our student information system. And when you log into the app, if your language in our system says you speak Spanish, your whole app will be in Spanish. That's a really important part of the ParentSquare platform, and one of the reasons we chose it in order to increase equity in our communications. Many of our elementary schools and middle schools also use ParentSquare for conference signups and then for different sorts of forms. So what I'm going to do is I have a series of slides that have screenshots of what it looks like on your mobile device. We're going to walk through that. Then at the end, I'm going to show you what it looks like on the desktop, because you don't have to have the app if you don't want to in order to still utilize ParentSquare. And then I'll show you live how some things look, and we'll take any questions you may have. So we're going to get started. Again, please, if you have questions, put them in the chat. So hopefully you've had the opportunity to download the app. Your next step is to click log in. So that's this guy right up here. Wait, you're not seeing that. Hold on. Okay, this little button right here. If this looks like this means you're not logged in. You would see old posts. You see this post is from November 2nd. You wouldn't see something current. So what you would want to do is you want to click on that. And then the next step would be to enter your email address that you have that you put down on your student's registration with our district. So whatever that email address might be. And then you're going to click sign in. Oh, if let me go back. If you're a district employee, you can choose to sign in through this single sign-on, and it would merge your district employee and your parent accounts. You have that option. So the next screen that you'll come to is the verification process. And basically it's just making sure that we have your information correct, that we have the students that are attached to you correct. So you would just go through and say, yes, this is me. If you have more than one student in the Beaverton School District, it's going to show them there. And I'll show you how you can navigate between students if you do have more than one student with the district. Next, I want to orient you with the My Account section. So once you've confirmed your account, you'll get to your school's main feed. And this right here, my child goes to ACMA, so this is my feed. And this is what I see. But I actually used my husband's account because since I'm a district employee, I see a lot more than you would see as a parent. And I wanted to make sure that you see what you would see normally. So think of this main feed as similar to a Facebook feed. It has everything related to your student on it. So anything that we push out from the district level will be there. Anything that is pushed out at your student's school would be there. And then anything that's pushed out from an individual teacher would be there. So this top part here is the little hamburger button, as we refer to it. That's your menu. Something that will come in handy is knowing that posts pushed out by the district will display with this gray bar, whereas at the school level, it'll be the school color, which at ACMA happens to be this red bar. So that's an important distinction when you're trying to search for posts related to your specific school. And I'll give you some tips about how to find what you need as well. You'll come to understand that there's a lot of messaging that happens at the district school and classroom level, and sometimes it can be a little bit overwhelming, but we'll show you some ways you can search and navigate within ParentSquare to help kind of dial down to what you need to see the most. The first thing I'm going to have you do is click on this little hamburger button guy, and it opens up this sub menu over here. And we're going to click on My Account right here. And when you click on My Account, this is what you get. It's where you find your contact information and your student information. And this information is synced nightly with our student information system. So if something doesn't look correct, the phone number is wrong, the email is wrong, reach out to your school to correct it in our system. And then overnight, it will sync up and you'll see the new information in there. So I just wanted to show you where you can find that information. But now I want you to click out of this little X right here in the top left-hand corner. To my next screen. So as I mentioned before, the great thing about ParentSquare is that you determine how you want to receive messages. So you can choose any combination of email, text, or app notifications. You can also customize your preferences for each school if you have students at more than one school, and for district messages. So if you want text from your school, but not from the district, you can adjust that. You'll also see that you have this digest option here. The digest option basically is just that. If you do not want to receive general notifications throughout your day at work maybe, or you're worried about interruptions, you might want to set your notifications to digest. That means you get a digest of messages from the school, the district, whichever levels you've set, kind of at the end of the day between like 6 and 7, and you can just kind of scroll through them all at once. We can override the digest setting, and we would do that in an emergency situation. So you can come in here, and these are my settings for ACMA, and I can toggle on and off any of these at any time. So if you start out with instant notifications and you're just like saying, whoa, this is just way too much for me, you can go ahead and you can come into ParentSquare and you can change it to digest, and then you'll get that digest at the end of the day. So I encourage you to be very dynamic with your notification settings. So when we clicked on that hamburger menu, we got the My Account, right? We have the rest of this navigation over here, and I'm going to run through it. So if I have more than one student in the district and I click on students, I'm going to see all of my students listed here, and you can toggle between them. If you have students in more than one school, you'll be able to toggle between the schools. The classes one, that's the third from the top, that's more helpful for secondary. It shows you each class your student has. So for example, my student has 8 different teachers for the 8 different classes. I can come through and I can filter down to those classes. The fourth button down is groups. We have some district-wide groups that we've set up, and this list will show you any groups you might belong to. That might be the PTO group. It might be a specific group that maybe a teacher has set up of a certain number of parents. Again, I encourage you, if you have any questions, to put them in the chat. Now let's talk about the different types of messages within ParentSquare. The first and probably most common is posts. So when we click out of that hamburger button, we go back to this home feed here. These are posts. So your student, school, or teacher wants to share information with you, to push out general information. They use this posts in large groups. Now they can include a notification, or they can simply post something on the feed, so the next time you go into ParentSquare, it shows up. So an example of each, if they want to remind you that picture day is tomorrow, they would probably do a post with a notification so that you get an email, a text notification, or an app saying, reminder, picture day is tomorrow. But if it's Friday and it's crazy hat day, and maybe there's an assembly and they take some photos of the different types of crazy hats that kids are wearing, they might just post that and not do a notification because they don't want to interrupt your day with photos of silly hats, but then you can enjoy them later next time you open up your ParentSquare app. The next category is alerts. You see here, see if I can, right here, you see there says posts and then it says alerts, and you can toggle between them. You may not have that capability because you might not have any alerts yet, but you would if your school had sent them out. There are a few main differences between posts and alerts, and I'm going to go over those for you. The first is just what I said. The alerts don't show up in this feed. You have to toggle over to alerts, and you can see that different tab there. Alerts can also include voice calls. So what happens is ParentSquare will try to text you. If it happens to be a landline or you don't have your text notifications turned on, then it will revert to a phone call. Alerts are like posts. They're one-way communication. You don't have the ability to respond. The next category is direct messages. So that little button is down here at the bottom where you see messages. Think of that as a conversation back and forth, either one-on-one with a teacher, or maybe your student's teacher and counselor, or maybe your partner and you and your student's teacher. There's group text, if you will, and then there's group direct messages, and then there's just one-on-one direct messages. So for example, I've used direct messages in communicating with my child's school nurse regarding an illness. Many teachers use direct messages to communicate one-on-one with families. The last category is auto notices. You don't really have much control of those. Think of those as attendance notifications if your student is absent, and you would get a phone call basically that tells you that your student is absent. Next slide. I want to take a minute to orient you to what you're seeing here. Um, as you see, we can toggle between the posts and alerts. We can also search for posts. So if I remember seeing something about an assembly, I can search assembly and it would come up. Each post also includes this little heart icon where you basically can appreciate the post. A lot of teachers will say, you know, please appreciate this post if you read it so that they know that you've read it. You can also see these 5 little icon categories at the bottom. I'm going to go through briefly what each of these mean. The first icon is the home button. So that will always take you back to that home feed. The next is direct messages. This is where you can send and view direct messages. You just click in this top little right-hand icon here, and then you would select the recipient that you want to send it to and type the message. You can see I've had back and forth communications with a couple of different people at my child's school. Again, the nice thing about this, and I'm going to take a minute to talk about this, is it's all auto translated. So if I am communicating as a district employee with a parent who in our system is flagged as speaking Spanish, I will type my message in English. They will receive it in Spanish. They may type a response in Spanish, and I will receive it back in English. So again, all auto translated. The middle icon is for events on the calendar. ParentSquare combines the district calendar with your school's calendar and any classroom events your student's teacher might post as well. So you can see everything related all in that one spot. And again, you would just click on the day and you would see all of the events that are on that day. Next icon is media. It's this guy right here. We can share photos, videos, PDFs, and other files with you, and this is where they live. You see, you can filter between the different types. So I have photos, videos, and files. So if I'm looking for a specific photo that maybe I saw in my feed, I could do that. You can also search for something specific. So when I talk about how you're going to be getting a lot of communications, utilize this search to find what you need. It's going to be really helpful for you. The More section contains student notices, the school directory, any links your teachers might provide. It also includes signups, RSVPs, forms, and polls you might have participated in, and a link to your school's website. So it's all here handy in one spot. These links, some of them are pushed down at the district level. So we've already put in links to Seesaw and Canvas and other common things that parents and guardians might look for. But your school might also include links maybe to your school's PTO group, or your classroom teacher might include a link to Epic, which is a reading library that we have access to. Okay, so right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop off of the slide deck and I'm going to show you the desktop version of ParentSquare. I'm going to show you where you can find help for things. I'll pull up my phone and show you some navigational things on that. And then again, if you have any questions, I don't see any yet in the chat. So either I'm doing a really good job explaining things or I'm really confusing you. So really put those questions in there, and now might be a good time while I just get situated with my screen. Okay, so hopefully you all can see my screen. This is the desktop version of ParentSquare, and I am on as myself at the district level. I think it's kind of interesting for you all to see how we can track things. So here I can see that we have this many students and families, this many are contactable and this many are non-contactable. Those numbers are a little bit misleading because sometimes a student is dual enrolled in a school and then a specialized program, and the family has chosen to turn off notifications for the school that they don't go to on a regular basis. But I'm going to pop into ACMA because that's where my student goes and show you the desktop version of ParentSquare. So you will see something that looks much like this, although you won't be able to do a new post. What you will have is this little button up here where you can actually kind of filter, so to speak, down to your students' different teachers. So maybe the music teacher, the PE teacher at the elementary level. But the main reason I wanted to come on here is I wanted to show you the help section, because ParentSquare has a very robust help section for not only us behind the scenes, but also you as parents and guardians. And it's this little question mark. And if you click there and then you click help articles, you'll get to parents and students. And this basically walks you through anything that you will want to know. The nice thing about this is it includes screenshots, videos. It also includes what you would see if you were looking on the mobile version versus what you would see if you're looking on the desktop version. When parents contact us for help, one of the first things I ask them is if they're on their phone or if they're on their computer, because it makes a difference on where I tell them to look for things. So this you're going to find is super helpful if you can't remember something and you want to look up maybe how to change your notification settings. And they update this on a regular basis. They're always making improvements to the product and the platform. And they take your feedback. So we've actually asked them for quite a few enhancements, they call them, and they have actually been very responsive in sharing those enhancements. So I am going to stop sharing the desktop version, and I'm going to cast my phone on the screen. So just give me a minute. Again, any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. On the screen. Hold on one second. Okay, you're going to see my lovely bunnies on the screen. Hopefully you see that. And then to your okay, so hopefully you see my phone screen. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up ParentSquare here. So you see I'm not signed in, and I can tell that because in the top up here, it doesn't show my actual face. So I'm going to click here and I am going to sign in. And this is exactly what you would do because I'm not signing in as a district employee. I'm signing in as my husband who gave me his information. Hopefully he didn't change his password. Okay. So here I am in as a parent. Hopefully the post will populate here shortly. So I see here that 18 hours ago, I got a newsletter, and I see down here, I can like it. I can pull it up. Now you see here a few things. You see, I can tell this, I don't know if this will be helpful for you, but it's helpful for me. I can see that the school sent this via my preferred notifications. So they didn't override digest, they didn't override that I don't want it via text, and they sent it to staff, parents, and students, and that 3 people have appreciated it. I can appreciate it too if I want to. And then I can hit back. Now, remember, I talked about posts and alerts. Alerts are things that are used for more emergency situations. So if, for example, there's a power outage at a school and we have to do an early dismissal, that would be an alert. And we would probably do a phone call because we want to make sure that people know that their kids are either coming home on the bus or they have to pick them up. But I can toggle here and I can see what my alerts are. Now, I don't know why I'm seeing, oh yeah, I know. Oops, this was an accident where we accidentally sent an alert to everybody, but you can see I can scroll down and, for example, we had inclement weather on this day. So that was an alert that we sent out. Buses were running late on a day. So that was what we sent out. So that's where you would see those posts and alerts. If I click here on messages, these are messages. These are those direct messages that I was talking about. And I can message my student's teacher, somebody in the office if I need to. And you would actually search with this little plus button up here and you would find them. This is your school directory that you have access to. If I go back to that hamburger button, you can see here's where, so let me do that again because I went kind of fast. So if I click home at the bottom and then I go to the hamburger and I go to account. Okay, well, I'm telling them. Yeah. I go to account and then I go to notifications preferences. You can see here's how I have set my preferences. If I click on this little custom settings up here, if I had more than one student, I would be able to see those. And if I wanted to click on the Beaverton School District down here on the bottom and adjust my district preferences for district messages versus my school messages, that's where I can do that as well. When you get I'm going to stop casting here for a second. The important thing to remember with ParentSquare is when you get a text message. Remember how I talked about how when you want to interact with it, that's when you need to activate or register. So if you get a text message, let me see if I can find one. I didn't want to go through my text messages on my screen. So, yep, I found one. Hold on one second. Some people find it a little bit cumbersome for the interaction part, but it's really important to note that we have the ability to go back and look at any communication between a parent and a staff member. And that's really important in case there's any kind of thing that HR needs to take a look at, or that the teacher needs to take a look at. So there's full transparency there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what it looks like when you get a text message through ParentSquare. Okay, so it shows up as this little short code here up at the top. And this is my communication with this particular person via a direct message. You can see down here, so these were all very short exchanges. I didn't need to go into ParentSquare and click on this link because I could read everything that she was saying. But there are cases where we can't fit everything in 140 characters. So for example, here, the BSD response to the Texas school shooting. If I click on this link and I have my app open, it's going to open up directly to that message. Now, if I don't have the app on my phone, it's going to take me into my browser so that I can log into ParentSquare so I can read the messages. The important thing about ParentSquare is not everything is public. Not everything needs to be public. If we're communicating something that's meant for parents and students and guardians and families, that's where we put it, because not everybody needs to have access to it. So if I go back to these messages and I see Monday message a day late, I click on that and it's going to take me to my principal's newsletter, basically, that he sends out every Monday. So I wanted to show that to you because it's important to note that if I want to respond, so if I want to respond to this person who I was having this conversation with up here, I'm actually going to have to click on that link. And the problem is that I'm not logged in as myself, but I would click on that link and it would take me to that direct message screen that's down here on the bottom, and I would respond within that. So I'm not responding here. I'm not going to respond to her right here. I'm going to have to go into the ParentSquare app and respond to her. And again, that's because we have tracking that we do with those messages, and we can't track text messages on your phone. That's illegal. It's not allowed, but we can track what's there in ParentSquare. I think that is all that I wanted to share with you. If there's any specific questions, if you're having trouble navigating or verifying or anything like that, feel free to continue on the call and we will answer your questions. But that's ParentSquare in a nutshell. Feel free to unmute and show your video if you do want to ask a question at this time. Okay, then. Well, we're going to go ahead and stop recording. Oh, we do have a question. Are all direct messages tracked on ParentSquare, even the ones between teachers and parents? Yes, they are, but not everyone can see them. So your school's principal would be able to see them, but another teacher can't see your direct messages between yourself and that teacher unless they're a part of the conversation. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay. Okay, we're going to stop recording. If you just want to chat about ParentSquare, we'll stay on for a few more minutes.